Hey guys, I decided to go ahead and do the Turkish drop spindle, how to spin on it back to back. So your Turkish drop spindle is going to come in 3 pieces right here. You're going to slide this into the hole on there. You can see through the little hole right here. That was probably obvious to you, but for the sake of demonstration. So whenever I start with a piece of rolling, as you can see, I have just drafted this out a little bit. I spin my singles clockwise, so I'm going to put some twist into here with my fingers. I'm just twisting this with my fingers. I'll do this a little bit slower so you can see it. And once I feel like I have enough to make a little half hitch, got a little bit of yarn here, so I'm going to make a little half hitch. Basically, a half hitch is, I do it like this. There are other ways of doing it, but you're basically just going to loop this around your finger. I'll do this very slowly. I put my finger in front of the yarn. I turn my finger like this. I catch this one back here, like this. That's a half hitch. Holding this still with my thumb. I'm still holding the spindle with my thumb. I'm going to just very, very gently start putting more twist into this yarn. Just like this. Just making sure that I've got the tail under at least one of my fingers and just putting more twist into this yarn. It is a little bit slow going, but it is effective. It's effective if you don't want to start with another spindle, or if you just bought a Turkish spindle and you didn't buy any other spindles. But now I'm ready to draft a little bit more. And the thing is that you're only putting a little bit of twist at a time, since you're just turning this with your hand and you're not actually like letting it free turn in the air. You're not putting in as much twist as you think. So we're going to continue doing this like so. And testing, I like to test how much twist I have by just doing this, and you'll see you've got a little curl. So I know that there's enough twist to continue drafting. And basically you want to twist out a length that is about as long as your shaft, and maybe a little bit longer, the shaft of your spindle. And right here we should have it. Okay, so we're going to pull our half hitch off, and actually my half hitch, I think, felt it a little bit. Yeah. And that'll happen too. If that happens, guess what? You just got a free anchor. So I'm just going to pull. It was a very short half hitch, so I just pulled it off. It's no longer attached to the spindle. And what I do is I wrap this around the bottom of my spindle a few times, so that whenever I go to pull my shaft out from my yarn that will be collecting here between the legs, whenever I pull the shaft out, it will pull this out with it. So you can actually find the end to your center pull ball. That's why it's so important, I think, to wrap this part around the bottom. Okay, I have enough wraps to secure it. Actually, I had too many wraps. All right, that's all you need. So we're going to make another little half hitch. You see they're looped. You're going to go behind that one. And if I'm looking at it straight on, I'm going to just go into the loop. So if I'm looking at it from straight on, and I'm pretending I'm you, I am going to put this shaft right into that loop, pinch it, and just pull. It's very easy to do once you understand how the half hitch is working. It's very easy to recreate it. So enough about the half hitches. So we are going to twist and draft. When I find that my yarn is getting too thin, I will pull from up here so that I'm grabbing extra fibers. When I find that my yarn is too thick, I will just pull from the thread. And again, it's too thin, so I'm going to pull from up here. And this is just if you want to, a little bit of tidbit of information, like maybe you'll watch this a third or fourth time after you've done a little bit of spinning. And you can control the weight of your yarn by deciding where you pinch, if you pinch from down here or if you pinch from up here. And like I said in the other spinning video, just on a regular drop spindle, on your typical drop spindle, I should say, I will untwist this just a little bit as I'm pushing down. Like if I get too much twist, and I'll do it on purpose here, let me give that a real good turn and just let this sit and just let this twist go into my roving, which is something you're not supposed to do, but it always happens one way or another. I'm going to twist this counterclockwise. Basically, you're going to twist your fingers the opposite direction in which you are spinning. So, untwist it. See how it opens up. See how that wool just opens up? And I'm not actually pulling. I'm literally just untwisting and then just letting the twist back in. Untwisting and then just letting the twist back in. And that's all you have to do. If you get too much twist up inside your roving. So it's not the end of the world. It's all fixable. So, winding on to my Turkish drop spindle. So we've just got it attached down here at the bottom. You are going to go, and we're going to start up here. You're going to go over 2 and under 1. And we're talking about the legs. Over 2 and under 1. And over 2 and under 1 and over 2 and under 1. And this is the basic pattern. You're going to see it kind of looks like a little 4-petaled flower. And you're basically just going to continue laying this. So this one, you're still going under 2 and over 1, and you will do that for the rest of eternity on a Turkish drop spindle, unless you have another preferred way to wrap. You can wrap it any way you want to, basically. But you're going to try to lay your wrap right next to, not on top of, but right next to the one that you laid before. Right? And this is going to give you that beautiful little turtle that we all see on Instagram. And you're just going to lay it right next to. And you want to make sure that you're not doing it on top of. So see, those petals got a little thicker. And you're just going to continue like so. Okay. And I'll do this to make sure that I have enough yarn to still do my little bit of half hitch. Right? and draft and keep going. And I will show you how to basically like turn your wrap. I'll explain what that means in a second. Okay guys, so as you can see, I no longer have like definitive little petals, like they're completely filled in. And this is usually the point when you can't see the wood underneath, and this is just one layer. You can't see the wood underneath of that layer anymore. So you're going to turn it, so to speak. So you are going to basically start by putting your thread very near the shaft and then very near the leg and then very near the shaft again and then very near the leg, and then this is how you turn your row. This is basically, and I've got some of my string just wrapped around my fingers like this so that it's kind of makes more sense for you guys to see it this way. This is what the bottom looks like, but this is what the front looks like. And I hope that you're able to see this well with my current lighting. Do I shield it some? Do I? Aha! Ha! It came to life. Okay, so you can see my base layer, but you can also see these strings that are seemingly just laying right on top. This is how you build your second layer. You go from filling out the outsides until they no longer want to lay on top of each other, and then on your next turn, you're going to go back to wrapping it right around the shaft. And from there, you do exactly like you did in the first layer. You lay your strings on top of one another. And the reason why I like to wrap my stuff around my fingers like this is because you can just do this while you're winding. And that's just for the purposes of being able to show you guys. Yep, so you are just going to make sure that this next layer just wraps on top of each other. And as this gets taller, as you have more of a turtle, this will get a little harder and harder to do. A little bit. It is not actually hard. It will just be, I'm going to show you guys a little tip for that. So these are playing pretty nicely. They're laying on top of each other pretty well, but whenever your turtle gets too tall and it doesn't want to lay on top of each other very well, I use my fingers to push the strings. And I'm actually going to show you guys a demonstration of that because I have my alpaca turtle right here with me. This is what you can expect from that wrap. But you can also move one of your threads and just poke it down with your finger, and whoop, it's a little cattywampus now. The opposite is true. If you wrap it a little messy and they're not laying on top of each other the way you want them to, use your fingernails and just comb them up. Comb them tighter. That's what I do to get my wraps perfect. Because sometimes whenever you're spinning, if you can just get your wraps close enough to being right next to each other, after you do a couple of turns and you go and you do your half hitch, before you start spinning more yarn, just take your nails and push these. This is where the shaft would be. This hole right here is where the shaft would come out, right? So you're just going to push these threads in your little petal diamond pattern. You're just going to push those threads with your fingernails, just comb them a little closer to the shaft like that. And you will have a perfect Instagram ready turtle, and no one has to know that you didn't lay them perfectly every single time. No one has to know that you used your fingers and your nails to comb them forward. All perfect. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. I hope you'll have a good one and happy crafting. Bye-bye.